and beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he explained to them what was said in all the scriptures concerning himself.
Shalom, children. Today we are going to be taking a deeper look at this week's Torah portion to see where it speaks of Yeshua Ha'Mashiach. We are in the book of Bereshit. The parashah this week is called Chayei Sarah, which in Hebrew means the life of Sarah. We shall learn today that it is only after Sarah's life ends that new life begins with Yitzhak and his bride. First, let's hear a summary of the parashat. Abraham's wife, Sarah, dies at the age 127. Abraham buys Machpelah cave in Hebron from Ephron the Hittite for 400 shekels of silver. Sarah is buried in the cave. Abraham's servant, Eliezer, is sent out to find a wife for Abraham's son, Yitzhak. Eliezer sets off laden with gifts to Haran. When he arrives at the village well, Eliezer asks Elohim for a sign. He says, "When the maidens come to the well, I will ask for some water to drink. The woman who also offers to give my camels a drink, let this be the one I am looking for." Rivka, the daughter of Abraham's nephew Bethuel, comes to the well. She gives Eliezer a drink, and then offers to fetch water for Eliezer's camels too. Rivka passes the test set by Eliezer. The servant gives Rivka special gifts of gold and jewelry, which she accepts. He is then invited to her family home to rest. Eliezer is welcomed in by the relatives and proceeds to tell them the story of how he had been sent to find a wife for his master's son. He tells them of the sign he had asked from Elohim, and how Rivka passed the test at the well. Rivka is asked if she wants to go with Eliezer, and she accepts the proposal. They both return to the land of Canaan, where they meet Yitzhak, who is praying in the field. Yitzhak marries Rivka and loves her dearly. He is comforted from the sadness of losing his mother. Abraham takes a new wife called Keturah and has 6 more sons. Abraham dies at the age of 175. He is buried with Sarah in the Machpelah cave in Hebron. Yeshua said, "If you believed Moshe, you would believe me, because he wrote about me." So let's dig a bit deeper to see if we can find Yeshua in the scriptures. Have you ever been to a theatre and watched a play? Perhaps you've acted as one of the characters yourself. In our parashah today, we have 4 main characters. There is the father, played by Abraham, the son, played by Yitzhak, the faithful servant by Eliezer, and the bride, who is played by Rivka. The same 4 characters appear again when we read about the life of Yeshua in the Brit Hadashah. This time, the father is Elohim, the son is Yeshua, the servant or helper is the Ruach HaKodesh, and the bride-to-be is Yisrael, that is, those who are in covenant with Yahweh. Abraham had asked his servant Eliezer to go into Canaan to find a bride for his son. After Sarah had died, Abraham focused on the future generation wanting to ensure his son did not marry from the pagan nations, that is, those who worship other gods. He had asked the servant to promise that he would look for a woman amongst his own people. He said, "Go to my country and to my family, and take a wife for my son." The potential bride had to be very special. She would have to have certain character, that is, good fruit, in order for her to be a good choice for Abraham's son. We read of Rivka. The young woman was very beautiful, and she was Bethulah, which can mean set apart. Likewise, the bride of Yeshua is to have certain characteristics too. Shimon Kifar wrote, "The one who called you is set apart, so you also should become set apart in all behavior." You see, it wasn't just Rivka's outward beauty that caught the attention of Eliezer. It was her beauty on the inside. She showed the wonderful character of hospitality in offering to fetch water for both the stranger and his animals. This was the sign Eliezer was looking for. In Devarim, Elohim tells the bride Yisrael, "Love the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Mitzrayim." And in Proverbs we learn, "The generous soul will be made rich, and he who waters will also be watered himself." Yeshua continued this theme when he taught, "You shall love your neighbor as yourself." When I picture the scene of the servant and Rivka meeting at the well, I am reminded of the time when Yeshua arrived at the well in Shechem. He had journeyed a long way and had stopped for refreshment. Like Eliezer, he had asked a woman to give him a drink. After she had showed him hospitality, he revealed something astonishing to her. He said, "I am the living water. Whoever drinks of the water that I shall give will never thirst again." Now, let's take a closer look at Abraham's faithful servant and the shadow picture created. The name Eliezer means helper of Adonai. This helper was sent out into the world to seek a bride for Yitzhak, who was the promised son. In the Brit Hadashah, we learn how the helper, that is the Ruach HaKodesh, also goes out into the world, seeking those who want to come into covenant. Yeshua had told the taught ones that after he left them, the helper was going to be sent from the Father. The helper is the Spirit of Truth. He brings the testimony of who Yeshua is and draws men to him. When Eliezer was sent, he took gifts with him for the future bride, and so too the Ruach HaKodesh gives spiritual gifts to those in covenant with Yahweh. Shaul wrote to the believers in Corinth, "There are different gifts. One is given the word of wisdom, another the word of knowledge, to another gifts of healings. These gifts are distributed to each one as the Ruach HaKodesh desires." Let's finish with the wonderful shadow picture created by Yitzhak. The last time we saw the promised son was when he had been bound up and placed onto an altar, ready to be sacrificed. We don't see him again until the end of the parashat, where we read he is stood praying, waiting for his bride. And likewise, the last thing we had learned about Yeshua was him being bound up and offered as atonement for sin. He, too, is now stood praying, waiting for his bride. Shaul wrote, "When the Master returns, we will be gathered up with those who have died. We will be taken up to meet with the Master in the air, and we will be with him forever." Let's join those who cry out in the last book of our Bibles. The Ruach and the bride say, "Come." Well, children, that is the end of our study for today. So we will see you next time, when we search the scriptures together. Shalom.